Did you bomb the GMAT or GRE and now you think that your MBA dreams are over? Not so fast. A lower than average test score doesn't have to ruin your chances of getting into a top business school. In this video, I'm going to cover the following 5 topics. First, do GMAT or GRE scores really matter? Second, when a low score can hurt you. Third, when a low score doesn't matter as much. Fourth, how to strengthen your application to overcome a low GMAT or GRE score. And fifth, test optional strategies. As a bonus, at the end of the video, I'm going to share 3 success stories of real students that I've helped get into top business programs who had very low GMAT and GRE scores. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Caitlin Anderson, a graduate admissions consultant and Oxford MBA who has helped hundreds of students win interviews and offers to all the top business schools in the world, including Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, MIT, and Yale, and win over $1 million in scholarships. Do GMAT and GRE scores really matter? Test scores are just one part of your application. Admissions committees will use them to assess your academic readiness, but they're not everything. Some schools are even test optional or will weight the GMAT and GRE score less heavily if the rest of your application is very strong. Admissions committees will also consider your work experience, leadership, career progression, essays, and your references. So when can a low GMAT or GRE score hurt you? Let's be real. If you are way below a school's class average GMAT, GRE scores, it could be a red flag. If you are from an overrepresented industry, such as finance, consulting, or engineering, admissions committees may expect to see higher GMAT and GRE scores. What they're looking for is some reassurance that you can handle their coursework. And so if you have a very low GPA in your undergraduate degree and a low GMAT GRE score, then it can be very difficult to make the case that you are prepared for their curriculum. So when does a low GMAT and GRE test score not really matter as much? Well, if you have a very high undergraduate GPA from a rigorous major, schools may weigh that more. Also, if you have extensive quant-heavy work experience, such as in finance, analytics, or consulting, that can help offset a low GMAT or GRE score. And finally, if you have a ton of really strong leadership and community experience, then that can help outweigh a low test score as well. How do you strengthen your application if you have a low GMAT or GRE score? And what are some other strategies you can take? Well, first, if you have a very high undergraduate GPA from a rigorous major, you need to highlight that in the application. So in the essays, in your resume, in the application form itself, draw attention to your high GPA. If you don't have a high GPA, then you should consider taking additional coursework through Coursera. Harvard Extension has additional coursework, or Berkeley Extension. These can be great ways for you to show them that you are prepared for the quantitative courses you're going to see in the MBA or specialized master's program. And I would encourage you to take those courses that you didn't get a grade of B or better in that were quantitative, such as calculus, statistics, finance, accounting, economics, because those are the courses that these admissions committees in these business school programs are going to be looking at. Next, if you have gained some highly quantitative work experience, you should highlight that in your application. And the one way I can tell you immediately to do is on your resume, in each bullet point, you need to have numbers. You need to quantify exactly what impact you made, and that will help the admissions committee understand how technical you've had to be in your job, and that will help them come to the conclusion that you're probably prepared for their program. The next strategy is to have exceptional essays and recommendations. So when you are crafting your essays, you need to build a personal brand I call the narrative. So you can check out my video up above me. The link that says MBA Personal Brand will help you learn how to build your own brand. There's 4 main components, so take a look there. The next and final strategy I'll mention is that you want to use the optional essay wisely. Now, some schools will give you the option to explain a low GMAT or GRE score. I usually never have my students use the optional essay to explain a low test score. What we do is we focus instead on the other parts of their application that are very strong. And then if those parts are going to outweigh a low test score enough, and they usually do, then that student will be invited to interview. And in the interview is where we will address the low GRE and GMAT test score. Because oftentimes the admissions committees will ask you in the interview, so do you feel prepared to take on our program if you have such a low GMAT GRE score? And you have to explain. So that's where we will explain it. So what about test optional schools? Well, I can tell you that most top business schools' MBA programs are not test optional, and they do not offer a test waiver. Now, the top business schools that do offer the test waiver, I can tell you it's extremely difficult to get approved for that test waiver. The test waiver is not meant to be an easy out for you from having to show your academic readiness, so don't count on it. Now, I would only choose to ask for a waiver from a top MBA program if you can demonstrate your academic readiness through other ways, such as a very high GPA and a quantitative major, or extensive technical work experience, or maybe you've taken several quantitative courses outside of your degree that show your academic readiness. But like I said, it's very difficult to get approved for a test waiver for an MBA program. Now, speaking about specialized master's programs that are test optional, as long as you have a very high GPA above 3.6, then I would say that you can submit without the test as long as the other parts of your application are very strong and will show the admissions committee that you are prepared for the quantitative coursework in their program. Now, I want to tell you about a strategy that a lot of my students will take when they don't have the time to improve their GMAT or GRE scores. They will add programs to their school list that do not require the GMAT and GRE. Instead of going for an MBA or a Master in Management program, a general master's program, they will look at specialized master's programs. And there are many out there at great schools, such as Imperial, LSE, Northwestern. Some of these will offer waivers or they won't require the test. So take a close look at these programs and see if you might want to apply to a different kind of master's program that doesn't require you to submit a GMAT and GRE score. So you can feature better with a high GPA or work experience or leadership. Okay, now I want to tell you 3 success stories of real students that I've helped get into top business schools with very low GMAT and GRE scores. First, I had a student from Austria who could only achieve a 610 GMAT score, 10th edition. So we chose to focus on his very high GPA, which was a first class honors degree, which is about a 3.8, 3.9 out of 4. We also chose to highlight his leadership and the narrative that he had built, which was he wanted to help bring education to children in rural villages in China. He ended up getting into his dream schools. He got into London Business School's GMIM program, Global Master in Management, and Imperial College's MSc in International Management with a generous scholarship. I had another student from Saudi Arabia that had a 302 GRE, and his GPA was a 3.6 out of 4, which was respectable but not impressive. So we chose to focus on his work experience and his narrative. He had worked for McKinsey & Company for about 4 years, and his narrative included him wanting to help preserve the culture of several regions in Saudi Arabia. He ended up getting into his dream school, London Business School's MBA program. Finally, I had a student from Canada who achieved a 314 GRE. And her GPA was pretty high. It was a 3.8 out of 4, so we chose to focus on her academic achievements and her work experience. She had worked for McKinsey for a couple of years before she wanted to apply. And she ended up getting into Oxford, INSEAD, and London Business School's MBA programs. So is a low GMAT or GRE score the end of the road? Absolutely not. With the right strategy, you can still get into a great MBA program. If you want expert guidance on how to strengthen your application, I offer admissions programs and consulting services to help. So you can check out the link below for more information. Before you go, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you about how your MBA journey is going. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.